So we're going to talk about the movie. So we have to go back to the beginning. We got to talk about the '95 Mortal Kombat. I can't believe we have to call it Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
'95 now. So were you there opening day? I'm pretty sure I was there when
I
that came
don't
out.
know if I was there opening day. I definitely saw it in the theaters.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because I remember leaving the theater. I enjoyed the movie a lot. But at the same time, I think I had a PG-13 rating. I'm sitting there thinking,
Yep.
it's a shame it wasn't more violent or more bloody
Mm-hmm.
like the games. I just rewatched it this morning and I couldn't believe how violent it was for a PG-13 movie.
They got away with quite a bit. I mean, like the guy's body like smashing everywhere and
You had,
neck
you had
snapping stuff like that.
you had Scorpion getting slashed up and oozing lava before he blows up. Half the
Mm-hmm.
skull gets cut off. You have that guy Sub Zero freezes when he hits the ground. It's just a
Yep.
bloody, mushy mess.
My favorite thing is that Goro is real. You
Yeah.
know, that it's a real guy in a suit,
Mm-hmm.
and as great as he looks in the new movie in CGI, I would have rather have had a guy very clumsily in the suit trying to fight him and like trying to do MMA moves on him and worrying that like he's gonna break the prosthetic arm and stuff like that. It's
Well,
just that level of just like '90s
mm-hmm.
cheese, but also it was in the middle of where they could still use practical effects
Yep.
along with how Reptile was just like that really shitty looking CG. I mean, I'm telling you right now, watch Mortal '95 and see how bad Reptile is, and then see what Reptile looks like in the new movie. It's night and day.
But
I mean, and they chintz out because they're literally fighting the air. But yeah, that's like every Doctor Who thing. Oh, it's invisible. We can't see it.
I was going to say, in '95's defense, yes, Reptile does look kind of cheesy, but eventually turns into a person.
Yes,
I,
and
I,
then the fight with Liu Kang is awesome.
Yep, I watched Annihilation for the first time this morning. What
Oh
was up
no.
with that? What was up with that CGI like skeleton and muscle monster? It made Reptile look like light years ahead of that.
It made it look like friggin' like a Square Enix
Yeah,
friggin' presentation to like reboot. And sorry, Canada, I made fun of reboot. I'm sorry.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was almost like comparing Jurassic Park to like Land of the Lost.
Mm,
That the '90s
yeah,
remake.
or Tammy and the T Rex, or like
Yeah, yeah,
or
exactly.
something like that. But I knew with those movies they were critic proof. I mean, I
Hmm.
even had the VHS tape Mortal Kombat, the Journey Begins, where it had the CGI, and I still remember at the time that looked awesome. Like that, and now you watch it now, it's like, oh my god, this is so bad. It's like very early motion capture on it. You
Hmm.
could tell they were trying,
But again,
and
I
yeah,
was going to say with that, the '95 movie, it doesn't rely too heavily on the CGI.
yes,
Like you said, Goro's in a costume. The
it's
Goro,
at that point where it was like they could still do stuff that was practical,
mhm,
and I just wish we would go back
yeah,
to something like that. Like if they make another Ninja Turtles, I want guys in suits,
yep,
that they can actually interact with, not guys in like the whatever the hell like they looked like in the Michael Bay one, that they
oh
were
god,
they were walking around on set, but it
hmm
was just like, what the fuck is that? I mean, you can do. I'm pretty sure you can do, especially with everything that the Jim Henson production team has done. You should be
yep.
able to do. You should be able to marry the two of them.
Well,
Use the CGI to, blend any seams and stuff like that. Like when Donatello opens his mouth and
mhm.
laughs, the actor inside of it. Okay, they can blend it in.
Well, two things that come to mind: the Hellboy movies.
Yes.
That's what they did. They blended CGI, layered it on top of
Hmm.
prosthetics and real effects, and also that Hitchhikers to the Guide Galaxy movie. I forgot the
Yeah.
name. Those creatures that they made, I think, just for the movie. I think that was even Jim Henson.
Yeah, that was Jim Henson Productions. I
Yeah.
forgot the goddamn names of them because they're
Mhm.
so.
They look awesome, and it's
Dragon's
a
yelling at
mixture.
us right now that we don't know the names of the aliens.
And they look
Right.
awesome because it was practical effects with CGI layered on top were the final touches and the finishing touches. And that's what was it Del Toro wanted to do with the Hellboy movies. He didn't want all CGI. He wanted practical effects.
Vogons. The Vogons.
Yep, that's it.
That's one of the. There's a band that's actually called Vogon Poetry. It's the worst stuff in the world.
Yep. But yeah, so you can do that. And I was going to say with the Goro being a guy in a suit, even though it's kind of slow and clumsy, Goro in the original Mortal Kombat was claymation, and he was kind of clumsy.
That was the whole thing that I was thinking about. Like, I was doing the videos at Galloping Ghost, and I'm talking about the Primal Rage games, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, there's nothing left from either of these games, because all those, not just the fact that Atari closed up shop and they probably threw them all out, but even if they didn't, those things just fall apart. And I think I've seen like a picture of like what Motaro looked like, and it's just like it's all falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it's little pieces of our childhood that it's be thankful we had them while they were there, and they're gone now, but it was cool to see.
Yeah,